In 1773, a group of American colonists got so angry about a tax on tea that they dressed up as Native Americans, boarded 3 ships, and threw 90,000 pounds of tea into the ocean. That was the whole plan. No stealing, no fighting, just aggressively wasting a beverage. And Britain got so mad about the wasted beverage that it accidentally started a revolution, lost 13 colonies, and birthed a country that would one day put ranch dressing on everything. Over tea. Let's rewind. Our story starts with a company. The East India Company was the largest corporation on Earth, and in 1773, it was doing what all giant, powerful corporations eventually do, going completely broke. They had warehouses stuffed with millions of pounds of tea and nobody buying it. So Parliament passed the Tea Act, which basically let the company dump its cheap tea straight onto the colonies at a discount. Now here's the confusing part. The tea was cheaper. Colonists were about to pay less for tea than they ever had. But there was still a tiny tax attached, a leftover tax. And the colonists had one very specific problem with taxes. Meet the colonists' entire personality. No taxation without representation. They had no seats in Parliament, so they refused to be taxed by it. It was less about the money and more about the principle, which is the most dangerous kind of angry, because you cannot solve it with a coupon. The loudest angry man in Boston was Samuel Adams. Sam was a professional agitator. His actual job was to be furious in public and get other people furious too. He was excellent at it. Sam and his crew, the Sons of Liberty, had a simple demand. When the tea ships arrived, send them back. Don't unload, don't pay the tax. Turn the boats around and go home. 3 ships sailed into Boston Harbor, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver. Lovely names for boats, terrible names for the fuse of a global conflict. Standing in the way was Governor Thomas Hutchinson, a man with a spine of pure British stubbornness. He refused to let the ships leave. By law, once cargo arrived, the tax had to be paid within 20 days or the goods got seized. So now everyone was locked in a staring contest. The colonists wouldn't let the tea off the boats. The governor wouldn't let the boats leave. The tea just sat there, floating, judging everyone. The deadline was December 16th, 1773. That night, thousands packed into a Boston meeting house. Sam Adams stood up and, according to accounts, said something that basically meant, "Well, we're out of options." That was the signal, because outside, a group of men had gathered in disguise, and their disguise was to dress up as Mohawk warriors. Face paint, blankets, hatchets, the whole thing. Was this a convincing disguise? Absolutely not. These were Boston merchants with soot on their faces. But it wasn't about fooling anyone, it was symbolic, a statement that they were Americans now, not Englishmen. It was also a great way to not get personally hanged for treason. They marched to the harbor. They climbed aboard all 3 ships. And with terrifying efficiency, they cracked open the tea chests with their hatchets and dumped every single one into the water. 342 chests, 90,000 pounds of tea, worth about 9,000 pounds sterling. Today, well over $1 million. Boston Harbor became the world's largest, saddest cup of tea, and here's my favorite part. They were incredibly polite about it. They stole nothing. They damaged no ships. They swept the decks clean afterward. And when one of them accidentally broke a padlock, they later replaced it. The tidiest act of vandalism in human history. Remember the padlock. We're coming back to the padlock. Britain found out, and Britain lost its entire mind. King George III and Parliament decided the correct response to spilled tea was collective punishment. They passed the coercive acts. The colonists called them the Intolerable Acts. They closed Boston Harbor completely. They shut down Massachusetts' government. They grounded an entire colony. The goal was to scare everyone else into behaving. Instead, the other colonies looked at Boston and went, "Oh, so they'll do that to us too." They formed the First Continental Congress. 2 years later, actual war began. So Britain replaced one broken padlock with an entire revolution. If your worst decision this week was smaller than starting a country over tea, subscribe to Historian Harry.